Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I've got another disc throwdown for you today. This one is a battle of the beginner-friendly distance drivers. We have on one hand, we have the Gorgon. This is a 10-speed distance driver by Innova. And on the other hand, we have a Mamba, another distance driver, but it's 11-speed by Innova. This touts a higher turn rating, but let's see if these fly very similar to each other. By the way, I'm doing this video because I saw a video by Nick Arnett. He basically compared his Mamba and a Gorgon. They're both lighter weight. And I figured, you know what, I've got some of these. I want to try them myself. Also, Iceberg TV, Dylan did this on his channel about a month ago. So I'm going to leave a link to those in the description below. With that said, we'll go to the next tee, hole 1, and I'll tell you a little bit about these two discs. Okay, now let's talk about the first disc out of these two that came out of the gates. The Mamba came out in 2013. That was the year Innova first started selling these. And it's basically a very unstable distance driver that has become very popular for a lot of people at my skill level, the novice, beginner, recreational skill level, for getting max distance if you get it on the low lines. And I've got this here in the GStar plastic, I've got it in Star plastic, and I've got it in Champion plastic, and I'm going to compare these three to the Gorgon, also in the same three plastics. The Gorgon came out in 2024 and actually caught a lot of popularity. A lot of people really liked it from the get-go, including myself, so I went ahead and bought. I've got this in GStar and I've got this in Star as well. This is basically what I wanted to get, but when I saw this Proto Glow Halloween version came out, I knew I had to get this because I wanted to put this in my glow bag. So with that said, the rules of today is I'm not playing a scored round. I'm just going to throw these discs and I'm going to see how well these fly in the hands of basically an old man disc golfer with not the most power. Okay, so I've got these 6 that I'm going to throw. I'm going to start out first with the GStar Mamba. This is the only one that's not max weight. Every one of those is right around 175, maybe 174. But this is 170, and this I actually have the most experience throwing, so I'm going to go ahead and lead off the tee with it. Let's see what it looks like. Looks very good to me. That one went even farther. Holy smokes. All right, these discs are making me look good. Star Gorgon. They're all flying very well. Champion Mamba. This is not the stabilized version. This is just a standard issue Champion Mamba. So far, that's the most stable of the discs that I've thrown. Let's see how this Champion Gorgon compares. Very similar in stability. Okay, check this out. From the most stable, there's the Gorgon and Mamba in Champion plastic. The next up, I had these two GStar, which I got good hold of both of them. That's Star Gorgon, GStar Mamba, Star Mamba, GStar Gorgon. So all of these have left me in a really good spot to get up and down to save a par. Okay, now we're going to reverse the order. I'm going to start with the Gorgon and then alternate between Gorgon and Mamba back and forth. We've got the GStar Gorgon. I'm going to go that way and maybe curve it off to the right a bit for the shape of this hole. Touch too high, but that's what I wanted. Still just a touch too high, but to be fair, I don't do this shot very often. The thing about getting drivers this fast is you have to have more accuracy with it. You have a greater range of variability before it fades out early or does stuff unpredictably. That's a little bit more like what I was trying to do. I'll get there eventually. So you can tell that these are not that unstable at my arm speed. I didn't do that right. I'm trying to release on more anhyzer, but I released early. There we go. That's closest to what I wanted. And it's got the stability to come out. That's good. There we go. Another anhyzer flex out to the middle of the fairway. Okay, there's a little more variance here. GStar, Gorgon, Star, Mamba, as I start to get a little more control and dial in my ability to throw. But these are all very interchangeable. There's not one clear winner here so far. So where are we at so far with these two? Well, so far these have proven to be very similar in terms of distance and lines. One thing I want to point out is these rims here is the same size as this rim. These are the exact same rim thickness or wing length, but they're both very comparable. Really, this has more of a convex bottom, and this is more of a slightly concave. But there is some variation between these, between the plastics and discs. Okay, I'm going to start out with the GStar Mamba on this one. One of the reasons why you want to get a faster disc like this is if you can put it lower, you can get it to go farther. It stays in the air longer because of its aerodynamic profile. Here's the GStar Gorgon. See how close to that I can get. Pretty comparable. I pulled on it a touch too much, but that has the extra stability to come out. That doesn't look like a -5 turn disc, does it? I pulled on it a touch late on that too, but the shot shape is gonna correct. So the added stability that these more premium plastic are providing the disc is actually a touch noticeable. That's a lot closer to what I was trying to do with the first two. Oh yeah, loving it. Yep, just a touch more stable from GStar to Champion. This probably won't surprise you, but the ones with the most stability were the most left and not nearly the farthest. So the two Champion discs and then the Star and GStar discs. We managed to just get that Star Mamba perfect. Okay, we made it to the next hole. We're going to lead off with the Mambas again. Basket is obstructed. It's past that bush and all the trees. I'm just throwing that way and letting it hyzer. Touch late release, but that's actually really good for this hole. So you can tell what gap I'm aiming for. I'm trying to be a little bit more this way to the right to where it'll come back in. To be fair, I am pulling dead straight. I'm walking dead straight, but I'm kind of angling out that way, but that's not helping. The body is overpowering, so I'm going to adjust the body and continue to look where I'm looking. There we go, that's actually the line. That's what I've been trying to do. If you put these on enough angle, these will absolutely not turn whatsoever. That was a grip lock on my part. That was bad. I'm going to rethrow that one. Okay, I got the Star Gorgon again. I'm going to retry it without the grip lock. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm putting these on a touch more hyzer than I want, but it's keeping the disc. It's preventing it from flipping up and going into that tree. I'm going to try a little bit more flat here and let its natural stability pull it in towards the left. That's basically exactly as planned. Felt like I got a touch less of an angle on it. Let's try to repeat that with this. Smallest of corrections. I grip locked that a touch. That's a great flight, despite my best efforts. As you can see, both G-Stars here, they caught this brush. These were misfires on my part. They were late releases or grip locks. But you see the four that essentially flew the way I wanted them to fly. They're all parallel with each other to the basket. So we got the Champion Gorgon, Star Gorgon, Star Mamba, Champion Mamba, all within about 110 feet from the basket. Okay, this will be the fifth and final hole, and then I'll give you my thoughts at the end. I'm going to lead off with the Gorgon GStar plastic. Just going to go that way, see what happens. Love it. Touch too high, I prefer to throw a touch lower. GStar Mamba. That was an early release. Terrible job by me. To be fair, I was trying to put a little extra on that one. I need to keep it at 80–85%, which is what I've been throwing the whole time. Not too bad. I did something wrong somewhere in the swing. Try the Star Mamba here. That one fell out of my hand. So this is not a good set of throws. I'm sorry, guys. See if I can vindicate myself with this Champion Gorgon. Here we go. That's a lot more like what I wanted to do, but I put it on too much hyzer. Came out early. So I'm going to have to redo these throws because I don't feel good about most of them, and I don't think this gives you a good idea of what these discs do in the hands of someone that can throw well. Okay, well, I say those were not good throws. 5 out of the 6 were basically all within about 20 feet of each other. And the very first one I threw, this Gorgon, was a little bit farther ahead in the bush. So I was consistent with my misses, at least. So I'm going to try flatter and better timing so it hopefully gets some flights down the middle of the fairway here. Up with some hyzer. I'm not trying to hyzer. That's the thing that irritates me about disc golf backhand form, is too often like my body does something completely different, and I don't know how to stop that. So we all have our challenges in this game. That's mine. Again, I'm putting them on hyzer, but that's next to the other one. Well, if you're going to accidentally hyzer too much, it's best to do it with the less stable ones. Now let's try to correct and go flat with the Star Gorgon. There we go. A touch late release, but that's largely what I wanted. Okay, well, you guys are just going to see how it looks when an old man tries to throw a Mamba or a Gorgon. If you get anything out of this video. Still releasing early and with hyzer. If you can ignore all the personal problems I have with throwing today, so you can kind of see what the discs do, even with not good form. Kind of making it up as I go along here. But I think I've learned my lesson with regard to the Mamba and Gorgon. You got to be accurate with them. Okay, well, to be honest, this is the worst spread of the discs. Those three are fine, but like for this Star Mamba to be so far away, that's just a misfire. But even with all these misfires, there's a little bit of consistency there. And this is about how far off track I was trying to get to, about right there on the fairway. And my miss was basically short and left. Okay, I've had enough time to throw these and compare and contrast them and get an idea of how they fare up. I think they're very comparable. I think the Mambas on average are maybe a touch less stable, but honestly they're so close that I would say, for example, these two GStar ones, yes, I would say this GStar Mamba is a touch less stable than this, but it's not a dramatic difference between these two. But the difference between these two and the Star Gorgon and Mamba, there is a little bit of a separation, and these two are really the next step up in stability, and these are very comparable to each other. Last but not least, we have the Champion versions. The Mamba, because it's been out for so long, there's a lot more plastic that it has come out in. They've got Hailstar and a few others. There's also DX and other plastics that haven't yet come to the Gorgon. But I think these are both very comparable, and I think you're going to have to feel them in your hand and maybe judge how you're going to throw based on that. But I wouldn't say that this Gorgon here in Champion plastic is any more overstable than this Champion Mamba. They just, in my hands, at the level that I can throw, they're about the same. I'd have to give the nod to this on distance, but honestly, through what I've seen today, these have been interchangeable. And I think that you can't go wrong with either of these two discs. I think really buy what you want, check them out in a store, feel them, see how they feel in your hand. They are a little bit domey, but I think they can be forehandable. They don't feel bad to me. This is about as big a rim driver as I want to throw, and these are about the stability that I would throw. So anyways, that's going to do it. Hope you guys liked the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, as I have more fun disc golf content on the way. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.